Hi everyone, I'm Barbara, a 28-year-old marketing executive, and what I'm about to share completely changed my life. 3 years ago, I thought I had it all. I had just married Bob Reynolds, a charming corporate lawyer from an elite family. The grand wedding at the Reynolds estate should have been my first warning sign about what I was walking into. At our first family dinner after the honeymoon, my mother-in-law Sandra, the queen of backhanded compliments, made her feelings clear. "Darling, that dress is interesting," she said with a tight smile. "I suppose it's what one would expect from your background." Bob defended me then. "Mother, Barbara's dress is perfectly fine." But that was before she got into his head. Living in Boston's high society felt like navigating a minefield. Sunday dinners became endurance tests, where Sandra orchestrated elaborate gatherings designed to highlight my middle-class roots. "Did you hear about the charity gala?" my sister-in-law Lisa would ask, her tone dripping with condescension. The Petersons were wondering why Barbara wasn't on the planning committee. I was actually running a major campaign at work that week, I'd explain, only for Sandra to chime in. "Of course, dear, work is so important when you're new to our circles." The subtle jabs were relentless. Then there was Uncle Adam and his son Steve, who began appearing more frequently. Steve, unemployed at 30, was a trust fund slacker who slouched in designer clothes. "Barbara, didn't you mention your company was hiring?" Sandra would ask sweetly. "Perhaps you could help Steve. Family should stick together." One evening, I caught Steve scrolling through my phone when I'd left it on the counter. "Just trying to find that restaurant you mentioned," he claimed, but the smug look on his face said otherwise. Meanwhile, Bob grew distant. Late nights at the office became more frequent, and his demeanor changed, especially after family gatherings. "You seem tense lately," I told him one night. "Mother says you've been acting strange. She's worried about us." "Worried about what?" "That I might actually succeed in my career." "Don't start, Barbara. She means well." The final straw came at a family brunch last month. Sandra accidentally spilled wine all over my presentation materials for a crucial Monday meeting. "Oh dear. How clumsy of me," she cooed. But really, who brings work to a family gathering? As I scrambled to salvage my soaked slides, Lisa was busy snapping pictures, likely for their family group chat, the one I was never invited to join. "Better be careful with those documents, Barbara," Steve muttered as he passed by. "You never know what might end up in the wrong hands." I didn't know it then, but they were already setting their trap. Looking back, every smile, every helpful suggestion, and every gathering was part of a calculated plan to undermine me. Things escalated when Sandra began hosting more intimate family events. Steve was suddenly omnipresent, a bad penny that wouldn't go away. "Barbara, be a dear and help Steve with his resume," Sandra said one evening, cornering me in the kitchen. "He's looking to break into marketing." "I really need to focus on my own work," I protested. "Family first, darling. That's how we do things here." Reluctantly, I found myself stuck in the study with Steve, while everyone else conveniently disappeared. "You're not like what they said you'd be," Steve remarked, leaning in too close as I skimmed his pathetic excuse for a resume. "Who said what about me?" "Oh, just family talk. Mother thinks you're interesting." After that, I started noticing odd things. My laptop would be slightly out of place, files on my desktop were rearranged, and despite changing my passwords, mysterious emails kept appearing in my sent folder. One night, I confronted Bob. "Why are you home so late?" "Work," he said tersely. "Not all of us have time to help Steve with his career moves." "What's that supposed to mean?" "Mother showed me the photos of you two in the study." "We were working on his resume," your mother insisted. "Right, just like you insisted on sending him those flirty emails." My heart sank. What emails? Opening my sent folder, I found dozens of messages to Steve, intimate, suggestive, and completely fabricated. I hadn't written a single one. Someone had access to my accounts, and it didn't take a genius to figure out who was behind it. During a dinner party, I overheard Lisa on the phone. "Yes, got more pictures. She's always touching his arm or laughing at his jokes." Bob's starting to notice. My blood ran cold. I wasn't doing any of that. They were twisting everything. One afternoon, I came home early and found Sandra at my laptop. She jumped back, startled. "Oh, I was just looking for that cookie recipe you mentioned." That night, I discovered new drafts in my email, love letters to Steve, written in a style disturbingly close to my own. "You've been spending a lot of time with cousin Steve," Bob said coldly over dinner. "Your mother is forcing these interactions," I protested. "Don't blame my mother for your inappropriate behavior," he snapped. That was the breaking point. I began documenting everything: Sandra's unexpected visits, Lisa's phone always poised for incriminating photos, and Steve's increasingly bold comments. "We should meet privately," Steve suggested one day, his tone dripping with insinuation. "I have some interesting things to show you." "Like what?" I asked. "Emails, photos, things Bob might find enlightening." That's when it hit me. This wasn't just petty toxicity. It was a calculated attack. I installed a hidden camera in my home office. The next time Sandra visited, I caught her on tape installing spyware on my laptop. The final piece of their scheme clicked into place when I overheard Lisa and Steve in the garden. "Mom's plan is working perfectly," Steve said smugly. "Once Bob sees the love letters, that gold digger is done." "What about the photos?" Lisa asked. "Please, I can make any innocent moment look scandalous with the right crop and caption." I felt sick, but I kept my poker face. They thought they were clever, but they didn't know who they were dealing with. I quietly gathered evidence, biding my time to strike back. The ambush came on a Sunday afternoon. Bob stormed into the dining room and threw a stack of papers onto the table. "Want to explain these?" he demanded. They were the fake love letters to Steve. "Those aren't mine. Someone's setting me up," I said. "Really? They're from your email, your laptop, your writing style," Bob countered, his voice icy. Right on cue, Sandra, Lisa, and Steve entered the room, their faces painted with mock concern. "We're all here because we care about you both," Sandra said, her voice dripping with insincerity. "Tell them the truth, Barbara," Steve added with a smirk. "About our special connection." "What connection? You mean the one you and your family fabricated?" I shot back. Lisa held up her phone. "These photos tell a different story. Look how close you're sitting in this one." "That's because your mother forced us to work together," I retorted. Steve chimed in. "I have texts from you. Very intimate ones." "Show me the actual phone they came from," I challenged. "Not screenshots." "They were deleted for discretion," Steve said smoothly. Bob wouldn't even look at me. "Our department confirmed these emails came from your devices," he muttered. It was time to play my hand. "Did they check when the spyware was installed?" I asked, pulling out my phone. Sandra's face twitched. I hit play on a video of her installing the spyware on my laptop. "I was just trying to protect our family," she sputtered. "By framing me? Creating fake emails? Making Steve stalk me?" "Don't be dramatic," Lisa snapped, but the panic in her eyes betrayed her. I wasn't done. "And here's another gem," I said, playing my second recording, a smug Steve bragging about their entire setup to one of his friends. "It's all a misunderstanding," Steve stammered. "Like how you misunderstood corporate finance at your father's company," I shot back. His face went pale. During my digging, I'd uncovered some very interesting transactions in their company accounts. "What's she talking about?" Bob finally looked at me. "Nothing," Steve said too quickly. "Go ahead," I said, turning to Bob. "Show them what you found in my accounts, every email, every file. Because I have the forensics report showing when and how they were created. Timestamps matching Sandra's visits to be exact." "You ungrateful little," Sandra started, but I cut her off. "Careful," I warned. "Everything you say is being recorded, just like I've recorded everything for the past month." "You're bluffing," Lisa said, but her hands trembled. "Like you were bluffing about those photos." I smirked. "The ones you admitted to doctoring, and those texts, Sandra." Bob stood, his face conflicted. "Mother, what did you do?" "Only what was necessary," Sandra hissed. "She was never good enough for you." "Good enough?" I laughed. "While you were all busy framing me, I found where the real scandal was. Should I start with the company finances or Lisa's little corporate espionage side hustle?" Their faces crumbled as realization dawned. What they didn't know was that I'd already sent everything to the right people, people who could dismantle their empire with one email. I stood tall. "Let's talk about what happens next." I never went directly to Bob with the full evidence. Instead, I sent it to the board of directors at his firm. Their reaction was swift and devastating. "Breaking news: Reynolds family empire faces federal investigation." The headline flashed across my TV screen as I sipped my coffee. My phone buzzed. Bob's 20th call of the day. Straight to voicemail, just like his desperate texts. Please, we can fix this. I should have believed you. Give me another chance. The Reynolds family facade cracked spectacularly. Steve's embezzlement from Uncle Adam's company made the headlines first. Millions stolen, with Sandra helping cover it up through fake charitable donations. You've ruined us. Sandra shrieked when she cornered me outside my office. No, you did that yourself, I said, rushing past her. How's the country club membership holding up? Next, Lisa's corporate espionage was exposed. She'd been selling company secrets to competitors. The same skills she used to frame me brought her downfall. The irony was delicious. Miss Miller, my boss, called me into his office. Stellar work on exposing the Reynolds scandal. How would you feel about heading our New York office? The divorce papers arrived the same day as my promotion letter. Bob's signature was shaky, likely because he'd just been forced to resign from his firm. I never meant for it to go this far, Steve confessed when he came begging for help. Really? I said, raising an eyebrow. Like you never meant to steal millions from your father's company. They'll send me to prison, he pleaded. You should have thought of that before trying to destroy my life. The fallout extended beyond the immediate family. Uncle Adam faced a reckoning when the fraud investigation uncovered decades of tax evasion. The IRS was particularly interested in Sandra's charitable foundation. Lisa texted me in a panic. They're freezing my accounts. I need help. Delete. Bob tried again. The firm is filing for bankruptcy. Please talk to me. Delete. Standing in my new Manhattan beachfront condo, I watched the sunset over the city. My Boston house had sold for well above asking price. Meanwhile, the Reynolds family mansion was being seized by authorities. Congratulations on the corner office, my new assistant said, handing me the day's paper. The headline read, Reynolds family business empire collapses amid fraud charges. The final text came as I deleted their entire family from my contacts. We're sorry, it read, signed by all of them. Delete. Success truly is the best revenge. They tried to frame me as a cheater but ended up exposing their own crimes. They thought they could break me, but I broke their empire instead. Now they're facing charges in bankruptcy while I'm thriving. What would you do if your spouse's entire family conspired against you? Would you expose them all at once or take them down one by one like I did? Share your thoughts below.